We are out to change how games come to life. On one hand, there's the creative freedom in being independent. On the other, the strength of the collective. Our approach is based on the best of these two worlds. We let developers focus on what they do best without the downsides of being alone. We call it hybrid indie. The secret sauce? Sustainability from day one. We believe by looking after people, players, and planet, we get better games from happier teams. We're a growing bunch who share the same values. Want in? Let's talk. Together, we're creating indie games, all while cultivating fair working conditions, inclusive gaming communities, and reducing environmental impact.
Hi, my name is Björn Rudolfsson, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Kinda Brave, a new game publisher focused on sustainability. We love indie games and the small teams of creative people behind them, but being small is not always a good thing. In fact, not being small and alone in particular is not always something that everybody's cut out for. We wanted to sort of see if we could create a middle ground in this and start supporting our studios with more stuff than what you're just usually used to seeing from a game publisher. Like, we started helping with HR, legal, recruitment, long-term financing. We even got our studios a sustainability officer. So they're still running their own studios. They are still picking their own games and creating their own identity and path. And we're not there over their shoulders all the time. But we essentially help with the rest. And we call that hybrid indie. Like, we're taking some of the structures from the bigger parts of the industry, and we're trying to combine it with that small team mentality, the creative side of indie. And the way we see it, studios develop games, and we try to help studios. We try to help develop studios into more sustainable, more inclusive, better places of work. So when we talk about sustainability in the games industry, it's a lot of things, right? But one of these things is inclusivity and diversity. And when you look at the number of players of games in general, in Europe, for example, there was a study a couple of years ago that showed about like 43% of gamers being women. Even so, looking at numbers from just like last year in Sweden, in 2021, only about 22% of the people working with games in Sweden were women. So when you look at that and you see that discrepancy, you kind of want to see what you can do to help get more women and non-binary people into the games industry. And one way of doing that we found is to try to find these organizations working with these matters, very intimately. And one such organization is Donna. And Donna is a group or initiative at Högskolan in Skövde, the University of Skövde, who've tried to approach this issue from the perspective of how do you get more women and non-binary people into game education? Because the more women and non-binary people that are going through game education, the more of them there will be to recruit for Swedish game companies, but companies in general. So another way of working with these issues is to approach it from how do you create more inclusive places of work. I don't think I need to go into anything about how this industry has been perceived in recent years in that regard in terms of discrimination and stuff like that. But if we just went into this thinking that we're going to be different, like we're just going to be different because we're doing things relating to sustainability, that we're just better people or anything, that could be one of our biggest mistakes. So something that we wanted to do right from the start was to provide all of our staff with inclusivity training. And we're doing that together with RFSL, which is a Swedish organization who focuses on the rights and issues of LGBTQI people. And once we're done with this training, which will take about 6 months starting now, so we're just like starting out, we're going to be certified. And once we're certified, we'll have tools that we can use to improve our recruitment processes and just make personal interactions more mindful of the life situations of people of LGBTQI, of those communities. And at the end of the day, being a nice person and trying to be mindful of these issues just creates a pleasant work environment that anybody will benefit from.
Hi, my name is Milton. I'm the head of community relations and scouting at Kinda Brave. So happy to have you with us. It's so nice to finally be able to announce what we're working with. And like Björn mentioned, we're very, very focused on the topics of sustainability that we think are very, very important to highlight even in an industry such as ours. Kinda Brave as an organization gathers people from all walks of life. We have so many different experiences. Some of us come from indie, some of us from AAA. We've been all over the industry. But I'd say there are two things that really tie us all together. We have some common ground here. The first thing being, being aware or have either seen or experienced the many different challenges of working in the games industry. Especially as an indie, we know that it's plain and simple. It's hard to make games and it's hard to release them and have an effect on the market. And the second thing is we're all very passionate about the many different kinds of sustainability that we can work with in really any regard, but especially as game developers, there's so many things that we can take into account. So the way we work with sustainability is really manifested through our pillars, and those are the 3 Ps. It's the people, the players, and the planet. People is the human perspective. It's working proactively with and championing the values of diversity and representation and equality. Being a part of a positive change and not just in the games industry, but especially in the games industry. For me personally, I feel like it's important to, just as a human, to be able and feel safe when pursuing the path in life that you find is interesting and meaningful to you. For me, it was just a given to work with games, and it is for many others as well. But the challenges we face as people vary so much depending on your background or your sexuality or your gender, and that obviously that doesn't make sense to us. We want to work with making sure that is just not the case. That's the utopia, when everyone can do what they want and what they're dreaming about, pursue their dream careers without having to work against who they are as people. There are really a lot of different ways that we can do this, and I think it is a wonderful opportunity, truly. Like for instance, creating safe, empowering environments for the people who are inside the organization, making sure that they feel trusted and respected in making the kind of games and telling the types of stories that they want to tell without us coming in and telling them. That is not our job. We want to help you broadcast that story. We want to spread that story to as many people as possible, so more can live that tale and hear what you have to say and play what you think is fun and engaging. One thing I think is really cool is we have a huge opportunity to work with more ways of making sure that the games that come out of our group here is available to more people. Accessibility is a huge topic, I think, today. And I mean, not a minute too late. Games are supposed to be enjoyed by everyone. If you love games, it's only unfair to be held back from that. And so for everyone to be part of the medium, there are a ton of different things we can do to work with accessibility, options, adapting, or just making clever design decisions. And as publishers, we can make sure that we have the tools and the knowledge and that is all given to the developers within our organization. So whatever the vision, whatever the game, we can make sure that the game is available to as many people as possible. And the third pillar then being planet, our home essentially. And it's really all about being aware of the impact we have on the world, like maybe not the first association you have with the games industry. We make, digital experiences, but at the end of the day, everything we do has some kind of impact, and we can take a bigger responsibility in making sure that we reduce any negative impact and increase any positive impact, or do the things we can do to, reduce, reuse, recycle in every aspect of the organization, whether it's hardware material or the way that we distribute games and the way the games themselves work. There are a lot of different ways that we can work proactively with this. And we think it's really exciting to explore that. There's a lot of research going into this. We are reading up on so many things and learning so many things. And this will be like some of the first steps that we can be, more environmentally friendly as a game publisher, but also inspire other people, whether they're creators or other people working in the same regards. We can inspire them to take similar steps and be a force of positive influence in regards to environmental sustainability. Players, obviously, they're the ones that we're creating for. Like at the end of the day, we're making games and we're releasing games. And I'll leave it over to Becky to talk about that. I no person better than our producer for talking about this issue.
I'm Becky. I'm the producer and head of game quality at Kinda Brave Publishing. I will be the person that our studios speak to the most. I see myself, it's a bit cheesy, but as the sword and shield. I'm the support character. The studios, they're their AP carries, our ADC carries, and I'm the one that's there cheering them on, supporting them. Any questions, any concerns, any worries, they come to me and I help them. One of our visions here at Kind of Brave is to become a trusted publisher. I want our players to be able to pick up our games and be able to play them. And not just pick them up and play them, pick them up and know that they can play them. But we know that this is a journey. We're not going to come out the door swinging. We know that we're going to be able to use this as something that we build upon, something that we work upon. It's a foundation, basically. And as part of that, we are looking to support the developers who are currently working with to make that a reality. We're doing that in 3 ways. We're doing that through awareness, through support, and through research. As part of our awareness, we are working with each of our studios to send them off to the APX, which is Accessible Player Experience certification, to ensure that they know what they need to know. It's a course designed and delivered by the Able Gamers charity, in which we will learn from them on how we implement accessibility for each of our games, for each of our titles. The long-term goal here is to have an accessibility champion per studio. So in each of our studios, you've got one person who is that source of truth. They will be able to inform other people throughout all of the disciplines within their studio, advise, assist, and call out any accessibility-related issues when it comes to design. It's something I want to instill in our studios from ground one. It's not like a afterthought, it's there at the front, it's in the walls. It's accessibility from ground floor. But of course, no one person can know everything about accessibility. This is going to be an evolving process, it's going to be something that takes time, but we are committed to supporting that process. As part of our research, we'll be doing multiple focus groups, including accessibility focus groups, to ensure that the accessible features and designs that we implement in our games function correctly, that we give the players what they need, and it's not just something we're saying. So the final part is the support. We want to allow our developers and our studios to make the games that they want to make, but we also want to make sure they're playable for as many people as possible. And one of the ways we're doing this is we're offering additional development time in order to allow for those features to be implemented if it hasn't been possible to do it as part of the design at the beginning of the production. Ideally, we want people to design things with accessibility in mind, everything with an accessibility lens, but that's not always possible, especially if we have additional studios join us. They may be partway through production, it may be difficult to implement some features here, but we will give that additional time so we can do that. Basically, it comes down to 3 things. One, the awareness, sending people to ensure that they have the knowledge that they need to do the job that they want to do. We're not going to send people in without having that information. Secondary, making sure the information that we've been provided and that we then apply is done correctly. And thirdly, putting that into practice. We want to give people the additional time to implement the accessibility features that they may come up with, or spend additional time to have accessibility as part of the pre-production.
I'm Dave Pinelli and I'm the CEO of Ember Trail. We're an indie studio based in Uppsala. We've been around for about 4 years. Launched our first game, Main Assembly, early 2021, and we're currently working on a new IP which will be announced sometime soon and released next year. The games we're making now are different from the first game that we made, Main Assembly, a physics-based sandbox where you can create anything. But I think the underlying feature in the games that we want to make, we want them to be creative, we want to put that creativity into the player's hands, and the game that we're making next is going to be a little bit more cozy, friendly, a nice exploration type experience. And for that reason, it will be quite different to Main Assembly, but that will be the type of game that we make in the future. The most important thing about studio-publisher relationships are experience and understanding, so you have the right blend of pragmatism and creativity. The studios need to get along with the creative, but they need to deliver. The publisher needs to handle the operations of making sure that we shape the games the right way, we think about developing them in the right way, we market them the right way. And I think having that right blend of experience on the publisher side and the capability as a studio is essential to producing a good game and getting it out there in the right way. Sustainability is important to Ember Trail because it's the basis for which we were found on. A load of AAA developers wanted to get away from that space and those old paradigms that we can all relate to and create an environment that was based on employee happiness. I think we achieved that for the first 4 years, and since, as Ember Trail has grown and Kinda Brave has been formed, that's manifested into sustainable gaming, and it's a natural progression for us. It's just a better way of describing employee happiness. The partnership that we have with Kinda Brave has that perfect blend of experience and expertise. So now we can rely on the publisher to provide all the services that we need from a brand strategy point of view, operationally, funding, and the studio can focus 100% on the creative side. So I think with that level of experience at both veteran developers and veteran people from publishing, we're doing everything the right way, but we have a little bit of framework, just enough, not too much, and therefore we're giving ourselves the best chance to launch a game in the best way possible.
My name is Lina and I'm the CEO of Dynamite Games. Dynamite Games is a small, cozy studio consisting of 7 people. We're located in Uppsala, Sweden, where we share an office with our amazing sister studios. We're currently working on a game called Go Fight Fantastic. It's a super vibrant and colorful hand-drawn hack and slash game for 1 to 3 people. In the future, we're hoping to be able to continue make very colorful games with fun, charismatic characters that we hope everyone will love. For us, sustainability is super important. As many of you know, the games industry is riddled with crunch, bad mental health, and many more issues. So to be able to work against that and just create good work environments and make sure our employees are happy, healthy, that's something that's super important. What I appreciate with Kinda Brave as a partner is to be able to do our dream games and doing it under safe conditions. We can take care of our team, expand the team, and do all the things we want to do, but we know that we have like a very safe and stable partner that takes care of us.
So my name is Martin Anander, and together with Carl Granberg, my co-founder, we started Tic-Tac-Toe, which is a small indie developer. And we want to explore games from a systemic perspective, doing procedural generation, procedural everything pretty much if we can, and just explore the games from a technical perspective. With Tic-Tac-Toe, we're looking forward to building games the way we've always wanted to build them. Like, I mean, anyone who works as a professional, we've done this for 15, 16 years, both of us as co-founders. You've seen things that you want to do differently, and this gives us the chance to do that differently and see if it actually works. So one thing is we want to assume less, not think that because if another game is successful, for example, we can copy its gameplay and it's going to be successful too. We want to build our ideas, see if they work, and spend a whole year prototyping and really figuring out if this works, is this the best way to do things? And then once that prototyping is done, we'll take that prototype and we'll build content for it in full production. So we want to approach it in a little bit different way. So Kinda Brave enables us to do this because they have a much more long-term perspective. Instead of just funding a project, they're funding us. They're funding a studio and the people behind it. And that sort of mutual understanding of benefit, instead of just sort of asking a publisher for money for a specific project, let's say, it's extremely empowering. Because they believe in us enough to let us do this. I mean, and they're paying for it. So it's really compelling as a package. And it also, the organization itself has a lot of the support personnel that you'd need from a publisher. So it's really an interesting way to do this.
Thank you so much for listening to this announcement. It's been a huge pleasure, really, and I'm sure that you're all very curious about like what we're looking for as publishers. Really, what we're looking for are tight-knit teams of creative developers with a passion for making games. We're mainly focusing on premium games for PC and console. One thing that's important for us is meeting teams that have an ambition to grow, and not just as teams, but also as people. When we know that you're creative and comfortable, we can step in and do the things that we're good at. We can do all the publishing stuff. We can make sure that your games are as bug-free as possible, make sure that they're available in all the right regions and languages, making sure that they're accessible, like we've talked about, that as many people as possible can enjoy it and have fun with your games. That's publishing. And that's the kind of dynamic that we want to have. Hands-on, not really, but available always for you and your needs. Again, thank you so much for listening to our announcement. Now we want to hear from you. So please go to kindabrave.com and send us your submission for your studio. We want to hear what you're working on, who you are, and what your ambitions are as a studio. So please get in touch. Thank you so much.